Hello and welcome to another episode from Teachers Toolkit Series.com. So today we're going to be talking about designing effective instruction. But before I get into that, I just wanted to say that if there are any topics that are being presented here that you would like to learn more about, please get in contact with me and my information is found below. These videos are just short excerpts to show you what is available and what I have to offer you. So I will send you the information that you need should you have any questions, which I know you will. For now, let's get into it. All right, so today we're going to be talking about effective instruction and the delivery of such. So the second part of this is, or first part we should consider is in planning. Now, a lot goes into the planning part. If you are very well prepared in the front end, delivering and all of those other things should be easy. So one of the main things that we're going to consider is cognitive theory. We talked about this in one of my previous videos about the difference between learning and learning theory. So with cognitive theory, this goes hand in hand with learning theory. And the idea is that learning should be mentally an active event whereby you create a process for the learner to engage with the material and they have opportunities to practice the knowledge. So some of the things that you might consider as well as you are planning are these theories of behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. So with behaviorism, that's with Piaget, where he says development precedes the learning. So there's a certain readiness that has to be there in order for the learner to be able to get the knowledge. And we can get more so into this topic later on in other courses. Now, with cognitivism, this is saying that learning is optimal and it precedes the learner's skill level. So, in other words, the skill should be higher than the current learner's level. So it's the basic idea of like a zone of proximal development, which was developed by Vygotsky. It helps the learner to be more driven and motivated to acquire new learning if they are learning with their peers. With constructivism, the idea is that the knowledge really is created by the learner as they interact with their environment. Now, this one is a little bit more complex and it can get a little bit muddy, but we can get more so into it in future courses. But with these three, behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism, when we blend it together, the outcome is based on these here that I described as the taxonomy of learning outcomes. You have to think about the verbal information. What should your learner be able to articulate? The intellectual skills, where is their learning skill level and what should they be able to do by the end of your instruction? Then cognitive strategies, you have to think about the mental preparedness and how you're going to deliver the information as far as differentiation and things of that sort. Then you have to think about activities that the learner is also going to engage in order to make that learning more meaningful to them and applicable to the learner so that they can actually carry it out. Then the motor skills, this is not a sit and get, so you have to think about how you're going to provide actionable items for your learner to be able to do at the end. So having that in mind, I think about it in a way of 8 events of instruction, 8 things that must happen as you're planning your instruction for delivery. Now, I call these actionable items, and that's what the A's stand for. First, you have to gain attention from the learners. You have to present it in such a way that they are interested, they want to know more, and there'll be questions, just as there will be with this presentation. So please get in contact with me at the teachertoolkitseries.com. Second thing is the lesson objective. Okay, so what is going to be your overall goal for the lesson? What specific skill do you want your learner to come away with? Then you have to engage their prior knowledge. Certainly, your learners come to you with a certain skill level. They have been exposed to something. They can make connections. So what is it that they know already? You want to engage that. Then you want to present the content, which is actionable item 4. So as you're presenting the information, you have to think about the mediums that you will use. Now, in this age that we have, digital learning is the way to go. So you have to consider your learning platforms and what other digital tools will you use to present the information to your learners. Then you want to scaffold A5. You want to scaffold, whereas you want to model for your learners as much as possible the things that you are trying to teach them. You want to make sure that they have enough examples so that if they have a question, they can actually reference something that they have seen. And then following that very quickly, you want to give your learners an opportunity to practice what they have learned. Many times, this step is skipped. Okay, we provide a lot of examples many times for students, but we do not give them enough time to practice. Giving them just maybe one or two questions to do, the easiest ones to do in the classroom, is not enough practice. Give them tough questions too. Give them mid level questions as well. Give them level one questions as well, which are easy, and let them practice all of them so that they have like an increasing level of difficulty each time. Problem solving is good. Then you want them to give you feedback, and you want students to be able to talk to each other as well, because of course when they're learning with their peers or with people who are like-minded who are doing similar material, they're able to lean on each other, and they're able to evaluate each other's responses, and the learning occurs much faster that way. Allow students the opportunity to reflect, and so that they can give you honest critique and good feedback. You should also do it as an instructor, because reflection is the most powerful tool in all of your planning. Now, after that, actionable item 7 is for you to assess the instruction. How well was it delivered? How well did the students meet the goals? Were you on target? Did you stray a little bit from it? Could you fine tune it? What was the essential question? What can you drill down better on the next go around? Did the students really understand it? What difficulties did they have? Which questions did they miss, and why did they miss those questions? Those things you really want to pay attention to. And the one thing that's going to help you with that is data. So don't skip that part. And finally, with your lesson, as you're planning it, you want to make sure that your students can transfer and apply the learning to a new situation, because you want that's ultimately what you want your students to be able to do. That's where the real learning occurs, where they can transfer and they can apply what they have just learned. So, as you're planning this lesson, I want to share with you a strategy that I use, which is like an instructional design model. And with the instructional design models, you just have to consider the fact that these models, what they do is that they are prescriptive, and they kind of help you to deliver the information in an effective way for students. So one of the things that you can do is to look at the analysis part of it. To analyze it is to break it down into small components, and for you to really look at each aspect, whether it's from the introduction part of your lesson to the video part of the lesson, or to the instruction part, or to the activity part. You want to look at every single aspect of your lesson as a single entity, and then see how they all fit together. Then the design is, okay, how are you going to deliver this? Are you going to deliver it via video? Are you going to do a presentation? How exactly is this going to be delivered? You have to think about those kinds of things. And the development, of course, is what learning platform are you going to put this on? Which audience are you going to be speaking to? Will the audience be able to access your information? And what is the most usable user-friendly tool that you can use to deliver your instruction? Finally, you want to evaluate the instruction that you're presenting. Was it universal? Is it appealing to all cultural backgrounds? Is any other geographical or technological material, was it omitted in the planning structure? Did you consider accessibility in a variety of situations? And then you want to now think about implementation. Will this be easily implemented around the world, around the globe? And is it easy enough? Is it something that is automated? Is there flow in the lesson? So you want to think about those things as you're designing your instruction for delivery. Now, as a teacher leader, because that's what we are and who we are speaking to, teacher leaders are those who are visionaries of their building, and they essentially are administrators or mini CEOs in their own capacity. So, this is what you're thinking. As a teacher leader, you're thinking about your mission, your vision, your goal, and your strategy. So, for your vision, what is the big picture for you? How does your instruction look like? Who's your audience? And what is it ultimately supposed to represent? How does it represent you? Then your mission, what do you want your learners to come away with at the end of this instruction? Okay, there has to be something. What are the three takeaways you want them to come away with? What are strategies that you're going to use to deliver your instruction? And note that I said strategies because you can't just go in with one. Because if you see things are going left with your learners, they're not understanding or it's not going quite well, you have to be able to pivot immediately to change to the next strategy. And then finally, your goal. What is your end goal for this instruction? What exactly is it that you want to happen at the end of this particular instruction that you're delivering? So if there are any other questions you might have, of course, please reach out to me. I have my website, Instagram, and also email. It'll be great to hear from you. Thank you so much for tuning in.